60 Minutes with Angela starts right now.
Now, for the ruling party, that's the party of Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, it just doesn't rain, it actually pours. The APC, that's the All Progressives Congress, barely 24 hours after it held its national convention, which many thought wouldn't happen or wouldn't succeed, coming up the euphoria of that convention, the party was hit again by a state of insecurity in the state of Kaduna. Now, the convention was generally touted to be a success, considering we didn't even know if the convention would happen. But here we are, 24 hours after that, a series of serious security challenges, the latest involving the ambush of a loaded train on the 28th of March, that's Monday morning, on the Kateri-Rijana area of Kaduna, leading to a needless loss of lives. For a president who campaigned to tackle insecurity, tackle corruption, and improve on Nigeria's economy, these are not the best times for the president or indeed his party. Osita Okechukwu is a founding member of the APC. He had previously been in the Congress for Progressive Change, that's the CPC, with the current president, Muhammadu Buhari, and he oversees the Voice of Nigeria. He joins me on 60 Minutes today. Oh, thank you, Mr. Okechukwu, for coming on 60 Minutes with me today.
It's my pleasure.
Right, so as the CEO of Voice of Nigeria, what is the federal government's official response to that Kaduna incident, the train incident where many innocent Nigerians have lost their lives, many are injured, and we still don't know how or why that incident happened?
Traumatic. We were jolted with tears. Tears in the sense that these are innocent citizens who, after the close of work, wanted to go home. As some also were going for business in Kaduna without any imagination of the danger ahead. But this one was a big blow. Big blow in the sense, as the Minister of Transportation said, that they anticipated that such might happen. They made provisions to provide security, and that was not done. I hope that should be done as quickly as possible, because the worst that happens is when you have a calamity of that nature and you allow that to repeat again. That wouldn't be the best, so we're not praying for that either.
Yes.
So I think what should be done now, those critical equipment needed should be deployed as fast as possible, because we are now in a situation of save our soul.
The statement of the Honorable Minister, Rotimi Amici, shocked many Nigerians, because he gave the impression that this was not a government in harmony with itself. After all, the APC is in control of the federal government, if the Minister of Transportation says we need something to safeguard this train, yet we find that as of the day of that incident, the funds for that security intervention had still not been approved. Why would that happen in a government that is controlled by the same party?
The bureaucracy throughout history is a maze, a gamut of maze. Maze in the sense that while the Honorable Minister of Transportation, I cannot come here to play blame games. There's nothing wrong in saying the truth.
In admitting the truth, yes.
Admitting the truth. But when you are on the other table, he's on the transportation table. He deals with the experts that run the train company. And the experts had explained better to him, and he got convinced and did a budget. But if you're on the other table, where increasingly the competition for funds is dire, you might not appreciate the import the way the Honorable Minister of Transportation did. So I cannot blame as well those who did not approve. Even sometimes we go to the National Assembly, they'll be querying, they say, where is the thing? There was one question one day, we talked about hosting our archives in the cloud. One person, I don't want to mention them, innocently asked, what if it be falls? So I told him, I said, honorable member, it's not that kind of cloud. It's a different cloud. It's just a technology in the infrastructure, digital infrastructure in thing, what they call the internet thing. So what I assume that happened on the trade issue and the security of digital apparatus is a question of appreciation, understanding, and comprehension.
I was reading the governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, where he said he felt helpless. Why do you think suddenly Kaduna is under siege? Because as of today, as we speak, it's impossible to go by road to Kaduna from Abuja. It's dangerous. We saw an aircraft trying to take off at the airport. We saw motorcyclists invade the tarmac. So that appears to be dangerous. And then now the train, which was the only other medium, even the elites were going by train. We've seen this attack. We know that a lot of people are going to avoid the trains now, and just not just in Kaduna, it will be all over Nigeria. Why do you think Kaduna is getting the brunt of this insecurity?
In fact, actually, in transportation industry, train has the lowest accident, more than even the aviation industry. The record of train have been very minimal. It's not only peculiar to Nigeria, they have been the issue. On Malam El-Rufai, the executive governor of Kaduna State, I feel for him. I sympathize with him, because the last I was in Kaduna about 2 weeks ago, you need to see the enormous investments in terms of fiscal and social infrastructure he did in Kaduna. But these are being watered down by insecurity, all manner of insecurity. And where it pains as well is that Kaduna is our own headquarters of Nigerian security.
You think it's political, perhaps because the governor of Kaduna State maybe has ambitions further in 2023?
It will be speculative and a conspiracy theory that might not hold water. So I do not think it has anything to do with his ambition to either run for presidency or vice presidency or senate.
Yes.
I don't think it had. What I know is that the federal government of Nigeria is putting all the arsenals in place to contend the insecurity.
The insecurity seems to be spread across. I was listening to plenary of the House of Representatives on Thursday, the 31st of March. A member of the House called for the dismissal of the National Security Advisor, Babagana Monguno. He says he's the only service chief that has not been replaced since 2015. Indeed, if all security agencies are accountable to the National Security Advisor, has he not failed?
I do not think so. First and foremost, we must understand, from where I came from, they said, if you have been beaten by the rain,
Yes.
the best you do is to look backwards. Where did the rain start from? There are material conditions that produced the insecurity we have today. We've allocated our wealth to less than 2%. We're paying emphasis to the private sector. Yes, they are key to the development. But how many that call themselves captains of industry has a pure water factory? Yes, you're a captain of industry. You run around the CBN chasing the petrodollars. If you had the industries, why is there gross unemployment? If you employ 10,000 of the police force, 10,000 there, 10,000 nurses, 10,000 teachers, for God's sake, where we have about 60-70% as youths. So when you have 60% as youths, you are faced with a critical choice to make. Do you get them back to work hopeful? Hope in the sense that they have certainty of a prosperous future? Or do you leave them to themselves? If you leave them to themselves, you have what we have today.
Insecurity all over.
Oh yes.
Join us again after the break. Welcome back, and so we move on to the matter of the 2023 elections. You said the APC will most likely zone the presidential position of the party to the southeast zone in 2023. That was your statement in September 2020. That hasn't happened.
No. The last meeting the leadership of our great party, the APC, had,
Yes.
drew a line or swap of offices. The worst was in the south will go north. That's why Adanso Shimole was the last we elected as chairman of the APC. And that office had gone north. The presidency of the APC
Yes.
happened in the north. So it's going south. Let's not even go back to the 60s in Independent Day to date. Let's even remain in 1999. That the Southwest had presided over the country for 8 years. And by the close of events, vice president for 8 years.
Yes.
That we are brothers in the Southern Belt. That it should be the turn of Igbo. Even if you don't want to strictly, our preference first should be Southeast. But even if you want to leave the Southeast, please don't leave the Igbos in Delta or River States.
Yes.
So that tomorrow it will blend our unity.
A lot of people are talking about how it would seem that those who have emerged in the executive to manage the party going forward into the next elections, this looks like either decampees from the opposition, People's Democratic Party, or new people coming into the party seem to have been the beneficiaries of those elected, of the posts in the convention.
Let me start by saying first and foremost, going by the insinuation, speculation,
Yes.
and naysayers, that they said it wouldn't hold. Some as well said it to hold. that the APC will implode.
Implode.
Oh, that President Muhammad Buhari GCFR is going, the APC is gone. At least the convention held, and successfully at that. So we have to thank the caretaker extraordinary convention planning committee headed by His Excellency Chairman Buni and his membership.
Yes.
Not only that they conducted a successful convention, they also helped in alliance with Mr. President in trying to cool the temperature before the convention.
Yes.
When Buni came and upheld all the decisions taken by his colleague, His Excellency Sani Bello, Executive Governor of Niger State, atmosphere became normalized. Because some people thought that when Buni would come in for his medical vacation,
Yes.
that it would be
All
crisis.
Yes.
So no, he said no. That whatever decision was taken in my absence by my colleague stands. That was a big plus for His Excellency Buni. Before then, he did a revalidation and re-registration of political parties. In my state Enugu, who were about 60,000 plus, where we did registration in 2013, 2014. But after the March 2021, we're now over 180,000
Members of APC.
of APC, valid members of APC, registered with number, which is about 200%, if I get the arithmetic
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
About 200% increase. And we were less than 30 million when the process started across the country. But today we're 41 million. So which means if we're able to mobilize APC membership only and have turns out to vote under the new system, by the election day, before the close of election, we'll be jubilating, because now the accreditation by the Electoral Act 2022, the accreditation is it will be electronically done, and the results will also be electronically transmitted at the polling unit. So if we're able to mobilize half of our members to be at the polling unit, we have 20-something million.
It will be an improvement on the 15 million.
No, that's a success guaranteed.
Yes.
So for us in APC, we said we are cool with the Electoral Act. All we are praying or appealing is for the INEC to fortify their base. They have produced their budget, and Mr. President has given a commitment, just like he signed the Electoral Act 2022, which I call the vote rigging vaccine. It's a vaccine. You know why it's a vaccine? The Electoral Act says, I think under section 40 or the 472, that where the smart card reader
Does not work.
or other electronic devices were not used for the conduct of the election, it should be cancelled. It could be repeated within 24 hours. But if it's not repeated, and under the doctrine of substantial compliance, the collective result of the cancelled units were not enough to cancel, to say that if you had done an election here, it could have been more than the votes the man who won had. If it's not enough, it's cancelled, it stands cancelled.
So sabotaging the card reader, as people
You are-
speculated in the past,
It's on
it
their
won't
own.
achieve
You're on their
anything
own. You won't
again.
achieve anything, because the result, there's no manual. There's no question of what is it called, result sheet right somewhere. No. So that had been an improvement, and which, as I said, the day Mr. President signed it, I said he had validated vote rigging vaccine, Those who are waiting to wait at the ward level to bring a part of the figures at the local government collation center, that is gone. If you are residing in Alaska or in Egypt or in Wuhan in China, and you click to the INEC portal on the day of the election, you'll be recording the results like us in Nigeria.
In real time.
In real time, and it stands. So which means that the parties or candidates that will lose because of there are those who are still on hangover, who are thinking that they will do what they used to do. It's not telling you, if you're a governor, for instance, that your policy should be tailored in meeting the electorate. It's like what Mr. President admonished the new working committee of the APC. He said, while you are going into the primaries, try to avoid the highest bidders, the money bags. Try to elect those who have popular appeal. Because if you do so, you've given the people what they want on the ground. So even if you don't have cash, you don't need to bother yourself, because this is the lady they want or the man they want.
Yes.
So by the time we finish in 2023, our electoral process will be final. The only way we might have the black sheep will be the independent, the state's INEC.
And the other place where you will have, problems is in the matter of this consensus thing. Is consensus legitimate? And I'm asking because we saw a few people at the convention vehemently opposing the attempt to make them stand down their ambition. So if consensus is not to be seen as an imposition, is it legitimate? Why not allow people to go on the field and contest? Unless, of course, you are trying to skew the process against certain parties.
It is legitimate.
The consensus method.
Yes. Like in the APC constitution, under section 21, the APC constitution said the officers to be elected must be democratically elected, either through direct primaries,
Yes.
indirect primaries, or consensus. And lawfully, it's also returned to the Electoral Act as a law. The three models. So it depends on the political party to choose either direct, indirect, or consensus. So legitimacy, it is there. At the other time, I've asked people, there's no concept on earth that has no pluses and minuses. The direct primaries had pluses in
Yes.
popular participation, but it's also cumbersome. Some of the parties do not have electoral machine. For instance, INEC as an electoral umpire had been there since 1998. So INEC as an institution is growing with
The process.
the Fourth Republic. No political party has such machinery to embark on direct primaries. That was part of what the crisis we had under Comrade Adams Oshimole.
Yes. Direct primaries being the one where all party members
Yes,
will vote.
will vote. One, like we're now talking about electronic accreditation, electronic transmission of result at the polling units. The parties, most of them, are not biometrically registered. And we don't have those machines to conduct direct primaries. So that's the disadvantage.
Yes.
If you do the direct primaries, you might have more crisis in your hand. If you do the indirect, it has its own advantages. That yes, people are queuing in line, delegates who have voted from their units.
Yes.
That's an advantage, but it's also open to money bags and the highest bidder. But the consensus has its merit. We are members. We are supposed to be people of like minds. We are supposed to know each other. We are supposed to know, Osita, no, you cannot do this. Yeah, the aspiration is okay, constitutional, and you're entitled to better. Come. We have only one chairman, please. Angela is better for this chairmanship, or woman leader, or deputy chairman, or organizing secretary. That's consensus. And consensus runs under what Robert Mitchell said, that he who talks organization talks oligarchy.
Yes, but I understood consensus to also mean that if one person disagrees with that consensus, then it goes to election.
Yes, agreed.
So, with those people who were opposing at the convention,
That was why there was an election.
right?
Our woman leader, Dr. Obeta Edu, was elected. Probably she might not have been the one in the consensus list, but she won. Those who actually disagreed with the consensus
Went into it.
we are given the latitude to participate in the election.
And now that you mentioned Dr. Betta Edu, you know, the APC is not very woman friendly. First, you have the majority in the National Assembly, and for that gender aspect of that bill of the Constitution Amendment to fail, that was a minus for the APC. And then we come to the convention, 2 mayor appointments for women. One, the national woman leader, and then my friend Omorede Osifo, who's the deputy national treasurer. Those are 2 minor positions. We don't have women in the top, you know, what we call the, I don't want to use the word juicy, but, you know, the serious positions, deputy, vice chairman, southwest or southeast or something. You know, why is the APC not forward-looking with women?
No, it's not about the APC. The APC is not older than the Nigerian society. Nigerian society is patriarchy.
Yes.
Did any woman buy form for chairmanship? Will you win chairmanship when you didn't buy form? It's like a beauty contest. In the spectatorship of beauty contest, there might be beautiful ladies who are more beautiful than those on the floor.
Yes.
But the umpire will not go and say, oh, look, yes, there's Aisha there. There's Bode there. They're more beautiful than these kids there. That's not the duty of the umpire. The umpire had to monitor those who indicated interest to run. We are coming to that. Even the American society, after about 300 years of democracy, this is the first time they're having a woman vice president. For God's sake. Throughout liberal democracy, history of liberal democracy, all gains made were incremental. Democracy, unluckily, a lot of people assume that democracy is a revolution. It's not a revolution. It's incremental in growth. Just like we have reached a stage today where we have a multi-party system with 2 dominant ones. That's the finest in liberal democracy. Anybody who is telling you of third force, I wish them good luck. When Wolanda Kwankwaso had gone to
NNPP.
we thank our stars because they had removed some votes from PDP. When they move, those who want to go to SDP moves, they have removed votes from SDP, not from us. Because in liberal democracy, in Britain, in UK, you have the Democrats and the Conservatives, the Labour and Conservatives. That does not mean that that's the only political parties there. There are more.
Green Party, yeah.
In America, you have Republicans and Democrats. But they have up to 11 or 10 political parties. But those 2 are dominant. There's no third force. or independent candidate should have win any of them for the president of America now, or Prime Minister of Britain. There's no candidate, no matter how proficient he is, at the close of events in February 2023, the next president comes from APC or PDP. That is, if a lady fails to file as a presidential candidate of the APC or PDP and wins in Labour Party or ABGA or one of those other missionary ones. There's one today that was in television. He says it's a rescue mission. Those are missionary parties. That's their classification in political science.
Missionary parties.
Missionary parties. They're not parties for elections. They might mature one day to bid, depending on the synthesis and antithesis. Because the society is a constant antithesis.
Dynamic.
Antithesis, synthesis. They might come up one day. But as of 2023, the next president, by 60-70%, is APC presidential candidate.
Join us again after the break. Do you support the Southeast being gifted presidential ticket, being given as a gift? People say power is not served a la carte. You have to fight for it. You have to reach across the aisle.
They are very wrong.
People of the Southeast, have they reached across the aisle?
Anybody that says that there's anybody that became president, whatever the name is called as a president,
Yes.
either in dictatorship or in liberal democracy, that was not given by a group of persons or few. Even Hitler, Mussolini, Churchill. So, Mr. President cannot say that he's not given an a la carte. Nobody. Anybody that became both dictatorship, both liberal democracy, but by a few people or larger group, say, Angela, you should go for us. Yes, it's very easy that maybe when you get there, depending on your frame of mind, you might use one leg to push all of them out. But that doesn't mean that when the history of how you became a president, or suddenly I'll say I became the DJ of Voice of Nigeria on my own.
Yes.
And I'll forget that some people, in their own wisdom, said, okay, Osita should go here. I'm not saying it's not good to work hard.
Yes.
But there are 3 or 4 imperatives. One is a non-geopolitical zone. Out of the 6, have no persons in each of the 2 major political parties that can become a president. Secondly, nobody will say that if you want to enrich national loyalty, national unity, that Igbo people should not be allowed to preside over the country. Not because of Nnamdi Kanu and co, but because of the fact that there is always fundamentally equity, natural justice, and good conscience.
But the Southeast people seem to want to leave Nigeria.
No, these are fringe elements. Just like the boys, the boys that turned terrorists in the north, or the Boko Haram, they are fringe elements of the north. They are not the bulk. Otherwise, if they are bulk, why are we investing in the north? We are the only tribe that invests in anywhere we live. More than any other tribe in Nigeria. A lot of people do not know that an Igbo president, a president of Nigeria president of Igbo extraction, will do more for that regions than the Igbos. That's our nature.
Will the Igbos vote for him?
Yes.
History showed they didn't vote for Alex Ekweme. They didn't vote for Kingsley Moghalu.
No, Kingsley Moghalu was running on a missionary party.
Yes, but if you
give an Igbo
yes,
a
APC
presidential
or
ticket of
PDP.
APC, no, two of them should be better.
Yes.
Tell you what, in the early 1999, we won 2 seats, federal seats in Lagos. If democracy subsisted as it's going to subsist now, we win seats in Lagos. We win in Abuja, we win in Kano. We're everywhere. If you give an Igbo presidential candidate of the APC, that's what I'm laughing about there. His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, who are thinking they will harvest the northern votes. How? The northern votes that voted Abiola, very sophisticated vote rank. They voted Abiola, they voted Obasanjo. Even when the Yoruba did not vote Obasanjo, they voted Obasanjo. So you don't joke with such sophisticated voters.
Yes.
It depends on who is presented and what the person's message is. How persuasive is his message? If I want to run for president, for instance, or the group said I should go for presidency, I can turn around the country. I have 2 or 3 houses. I will show the Nigerian people the 3 houses. I will say I will cut my salary by 40%, and I will persuade the National Assembly to cut theirs by 40%. And across the board, I've saved some money.
Yes.
Where are we going to put it? We check fiscal and social infrastructure. Where do you deploy it? Mr. Osita, you have to have social vehicle. I said no. Going to where? I told the gentleman, if you want to run this government with me, we're cutting 40%. Set up a committee so that the Nigerian people will know where you are deploying those money you saved. That is the number one.
Yes.
Secondly, what does it cost me to look into the exclusive legislative list, 68 in number, and cut off those who are extra meat to the federal government? Why should I do borehole? Why should I do primary health care?
Yes.
Why should I do primary school? I cut them and concentrate where the federal government will live. And they give directive on the others and policies that will help advance the country. We are tribal, yes. Go and develop your tribe. You are the governor of Zamfara State. You have more money in your hand. Luckily, President Muhammad Buhari, one of the greatest achievements outside the vote rigging vaccine, is that he had gotten the assembly, no matter they were at loggerhead, but they achieved a lot. What did they achieve? What they call first line charge of funds meant for the local, for the state legislature,
Yes.
and judiciary. I hope the 9th Assembly might also include the local government. When those organs get their first line charge, it means that judiciary at the state level will be more independent than they are today. It means the legislature at the state level will be more independent as they are today. And if local council is added, it meets up with the Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution that says that the local government must be democratically elected, which is not the case today. Mr. President, I achieved 2. First line charge to state legislature and first line charge to state judiciary. That makes for independence of those units.
Yes.
So when you are handling with that as a president, and you are open to sacrifice your own luxury, the country moves with you.
Can you clarify for us what the requirements are for the candidate that the APC will present? Will it be a Southern Christian or a Southern Muslim?
No, it's very wrong to do that kind of analysis. You know why?
Why?
Osita Okechukwu, I'm interested in going. But let us say now that the group said, Osita, no, don't bother yourself. I won't be in the race. So if I'm not in the race, will you count, oh, Osita told you what he could have done. Why don't you bring him? Bring me from spectator stand to come and join the ring. He must be in the ring. So if a Muslim, a Southern Muslim, is not in the ring, what happens? If the party decide today that they are going southeast, then they will persuade Ashwaju them not to. Then there may not be a Southeast Christian who will indicate and Muslim who will indicate interest.
But you don't think that the Christian population, having had a Muslim president the last 8 years, are desirous of a Christian president now?
No, definitely. But what I'm saying, you are saying desirous. We're saying this is a closet contest of membership of a political party. That when the race begins,
Then those
whoever
things
is
will be
desirous.
sorted.
For instance, the PDP said, if you want to bid for the presidency, you buy the form at 40 million.
Yes.
So if you tell me now that I should pay 40 million, I don't have. So how will I bid? First and foremost, in the elite conspiracy, I've been edged out.
That eliminates you naturally.
Naturally, unless there are people, as I said, it's not a la carte. It's people that will say, Osita, you don't have, please, let's piece up and buy form on your behalf. Would it so for Mr. President?
Your call on the federal government to release a person who leads a proscribed organization, that's Nnamdi Kanu, can you rationalize that for us?
No. The issue about Nnamdi Kanu is a very sorry state. The young man had gone overboard. If you go through what the nonsense he has said, you cannot pardon him. The crisis has engineered either directly or indirectly,
Yes.
either by commission or omission. You can't pardon him. But if you remember as well, that there are certain times why the law provided for pardon.
Yes.
Sometimes people are pardoned for their nuisance.
Okay.
I'm not an advocate of his position. He knows, his group knows, because I told them the crisis in the country can only be known if you've gone around the country. When Jonathan was president, some people thought that everybody in Bayelsa was in El Dorado. But that's a farce. I told him in a meeting in Enugu that I have gone to the around Mr. President's household. I've stayed there for some few days. I've gone around. The same poverty you're talking about exists here, exists there. The same gross unemployment are on both sides.
Yes.
Forget about the few elites that you see in television that got some perks. Otherwise, why is the Niger Delta not developed after Jonathan's 5 years? Why is the northern region not developed after over 40 years of leadership?
Yes.
So as a social scientist, we don't look at it that way. We look at the crisis of underdevelopment holistically. What do we do to get our country move out of poverty? It has been done all over the world. And one of the things is thrift. The elite class must also cut the expenses. If you don't cut your expenses, we have not started talking about development. So it's not about the tribe where you're coming, but the people like Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
They just took it for granted that everybody in Kano is okay. That the outside people, they are okay. That's why they are marginalizing us.
Not realizing that everyone has their own
That's what
suffering.
is called Human Development Index. We are falling short of it across the globe. That's why we became the world poverty capital.
On the final note, and on the matter of the EFCC inviting you in January this year, 2022, you were detained briefly and then you were subsequently released. What is the status of that?
I came, was reappointed. It was appointed in 2016.
16.
I went in Radio House, and I asked those I met on the ground. I call them traditional rulers because some have stayed for 20-something, some 30. They told me that Radio House is owned by our parent agency, Radio Nigeria.
Right.
Because we are the external department of Radio Nigeria as far as 1960, 61. until 1991 when we were excised
Yes.
to be Voice of Nigeria, 1991. So I asked them, if this radio house, because I've been here for 30-something years, is the first skyscraper in the town. I said, yes, I know it's radio house. Where are we in the Abuja master plan? They said it was given out to Yaradua Center. I said, where's the alternate plot? They said, we are in Lugbe and one other place at the back of Bayes University. I said, those are not a good face for the external radio
Nigeria. Yes.
of the country. That who were more known when it was only one Radio Nigeria, one Voice of Nigeria. But with the entry of Ray Power, we have almost up to 700 to 1,000 radio stations. So we must be where our face will be shown. So they said, what do we do? I said, I've seen some houses written the FCC. So in going around, one of my friends said, Tony Dara, said, Osita, there's a house I will see. I understand you are looking for EFCC acquired houses. He said it, so he brought me here. I wrote to Mr. President in October 2016, and Mr. President approved. He said, Osita, for yourself? I said, no, sir, the agency. And I told him this story. He said, okay, for the agency, that's the best way for me to account for those houses. So he now told the chief of staff to refer me to the FCC. So when I came, they told me actually that the place has what they call final forfeiture in court. That it has an interim forfeiture, but not the final forfeiture.
Right.
So I said I'm interested in that office. They showed me one hotel in Durumi, 6-room hotel, bigger than this building. I said it won't give the face.
You wanted to be central.
So that even the passerby will see. Then the then Chairman Magu said, Osita, I don't know when the court will finish. And I don't even know the verdict. So those are the crises in your hand. I said, who is the lawyer? He said, it's Rotimi Jacobs. So I said, can I have his number? So when I went to our office in Lagos, I found time to see Rotimi Jacobs. I said, please, this is what I came for. He said, why should you hang hope on the court? That him as a senior counsel cannot determine the outcome of the judgment, because that judgment might go either side.
Yes.
But the truth he will tell me actually is that the man linked up to the company that owned the building, the late Bade, the then chief of defense staff, had said it's not his own. So I just said, okay, the house is ours.
Yes.
So I came back to the National Assembly and said, okay, the budget of this place, capital budget, we're going to complete a house, we're going to buy furniture, we're going to buy big genset, we're going to institute, what is it called, data center. Because
make it habitable.
Yes, data center, because I know, as I told you, that out of 6 time zones, that 5 had migrated out of shortwave.
Yes.
That when you go to those countries like America, Europe, Southeast Asia, what you can see as radio is in the cars. And most of the time, even those people have their CD competing with the FM studio,
yes,
which is not linked up to us. So when, luckily, my friends in the National Assembly, they obliged me corrigendum and changed the whole capital budget to focus on this house. In summary, 2006, the judgment did not come. 2007, we got the money. The judgment had not come. I paid everything because there was fear of mopping up the fund.
Yes.
When I had a meeting, they told me under the Procurement Act, you can't pay more than 15%, this and that and that. And the financial year is because they released the money about April 19th. The financial year is coming by 5th of May. That the only thing you can do is to seek for warehousing. I went to the accountant general. He said, yes, we'll do warehousing, but there's no money in town. Sometimes an issue might crop up and they say, get money wherever it is.
And you take the warehouse money.
Yes. So for fear of that, I paid everything, hoping that one day. So even by then, this petition started. Osita, he did money laundering, he did that. Luckily for me, when we went to ICPC, the man said, did you buy any of the equipment? I said, yes, it's in Lubo there. They better, why should we buy equipment for the house we have not got? I said there's hope that Mr. President in principle had approved it.
Yes.
And from all indication, the federal government is going to win the case. Not until February 2019, when the final judgment came, and the federal government of Nigeria won the case. So on July
Yes.
2019,
Yes.
the EFCC gave us
This. So handing over forfeited property.
yeah.
So this was the genesis.
Yes. So those who did not want me to come back, they reinvigorated the petition that you did this, you did that, you
Yes.
did that. So, but the one I told them, but as God have it,
Yes.
if you push me out, I don't mind. But the house will remain that of Voice of Nigeria in the next 1 million years. So whether you like me or hate me, it's part of it's my major legacy.
You are legitimately
Thanks.
still
Yes.
the CEO for
Thanks.
a second term.
Yeah.
And to those who say that you often forget that you or your agency speaks for Nigeria, not for the president personally, and not for the APC, what do you say?
I speak for Nigeria. We do, our major thing we do now, there's a small column in our website, www.von.gov.ng, that talks of culture, for instance.
Yes.
And so development going on across the country. We, by our mission, is to reflect the views, positive views about Nigeria and
Positive.
and Africa. We do not add, we do not subtract. Some want us to go sensational. I told them, no, under the law, the Vaughan Act, we're not supposed to add, we're not supposed to.
Subtract.
We have become the reference point. Reference point in the sense that most of the callback that we normally have, yes, we read so in the social media. What's the position? We say, go to our own website. We're not even in your smartphone, in radio apps, Vaughan radio app, Radio Garden, Simple Radio.
So you have an
And
app
yes,
for the
we do.
viewers watching now.
Because in the external world,
Yes.
we know that they're not in shortwave anymore. They don't have transistor radio anymore. But they have smartphone. Because our audience is abroad. So our business is to look to where our audience are. We're in YouTube. Any platform that you could mention.
Yes.
We've advanced on digital broadcasting while we still retain the shortwave for
Local
places.
content.
Not only local content, like in Sudan, Major Africa, they listen as well to shortwave, and the Middle East. But Europe, North America, South America, Southeast Asia,
Yes.
that migrated.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okechukwu, for having me in your office and graciously answering all my questions.
I appreciate.
Thank you.
You know, you are incisive. I appreciate your incisive interview.
Thank you very much,
I
sir.
appreciate.
And thank you for watching. I'm Angela Ajetunmobi.